Remnants of Debby are headed up the East Coast. We still have some rain in our forecast, though. Good afternoon to you on this Friday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks so much for joining us. Here's the latest on the system. The total death toll from Debby now stands at 8, including 2 people in North Carolina. Swift water rescue teams have responded to more than 170 search, rescue, or evacuations. Inland river flooding is the primary threat at this point.
We have team coverage of Debby's impact. We begin with Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center to show us why those showers and storms will be sticking around with us through the weekend, Elizabeth.
We take a live look again at Dual Doppler 5000 radar. This morning, we had some fairly steady to moderately heavy rain across the region, but we're starting to see the bulk of that now shifting to the coast. You can see some of the heavier rain, some of those brighter colors, the yellows and the oranges. Not likely to have any tornadoes even along the coast today. But we have a cold front that's pushing across the state, and that will concentrate the rain closer to the coast as we get through the afternoon. But there's still a few sprinkles out there, a few light showers from Roanoke Rapids northward, and a couple of light patchy rain showers around the remainder of the viewing area as well. But take a look at this. Debby is a post-tropical cyclone, and it is about to move into New York. That's where the low pressure system that was Debby is right now. By the time we get to dinner time, it's up into Canada. So that low that was Debby is out of here, and that's definitely good news. It's the cold front that's going to continue to bring us a chance of showers and thunderstorms, not so much for the rest of today, but potentially for tomorrow and again Sunday as it stalls over us. Now, we do still have a flood watch in effect for our eastern counties. Of course, there may be a few trees that continue to fall this afternoon. There are some rivers that are still high, and I'm going to walk you through all of the river flood gauges and stages coming up in just a little while. We take a look at Futurecast, couple sprinkles showing up now, but we get to 5 o'clock and a little bit of sunshine begins to peek through, and the rain for us really ends. I mean, couldn't rule out an isolated shower, but you can see, the chances are really tapering off once we get towards, say, dinner time or so. And one of the reasons why, take a look at our satellite view over in Greensboro. It's partly cloudy. We're starting to see a little bit of sunshine there in Orange County and up in Person County too. So this is all going to be moving eastward, and a lot of us should see some sunshine before we get to sunset. As a matter of fact, we take a look from the Museum of Natural Sciences. Look at that blue sky over parts of downtown Raleigh. It's 80 degrees though, and the dew point is 75. It is very warm and sticky. The winds are starting to drop some. We still have gusts to 16. Earlier this morning, we were gusting up to 25, and that's why we still had some trees falling, but those winds are starting to die down as well. It is going to be a fairly warm, sticky afternoon, and coming up again, 2 things. I'm going to show you when we'll see some storms over the weekend, and we'll take a close look at those river gauges.
It is going to be a while before buildings are repaired in Wilson County. Drone video shows the home that collapsed, killing the man who lived there. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is live in Lucama for us this noon. Heidi, you just spoke with one person who lives in that area. What do they have to tell you?
Well, Jeff, we're standing right in front of the home where 60-year-old Brian Barnes lost his life in yesterday's storm. Yesterday, we spoke with family as they came here, picking up some of the pieces you're going to see behind me. You'll see things like chairs, blankets, memories, all in this area connected to that man and his family. And of course, people still on scene picking up the pieces all around this community. In fact, if you look across the street, you're going to see another home where the community has really come together to restore what is left of their house. You're going to see many people arriving on scene, really creating this great community response, especially as that storm was hitting. Many people checking on their loved ones, making sure that they were okay, especially those people who lost everything.
We were in contact with my parents and checking on them, and once everything was done, we got the phone call that they had lost everything.
Now, of course, we've been seeing crews all morning arriving here on scene, working to restore power and help those in need. Just within the last few minutes, we noticed that family arrived here on this property to pick up some of the belongings to Brian, and family members just coming together to really remember him and clean up the mess that you see behind me. And of course, we're going to continue sticking in this area throughout the day. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Lucama.
Only on WRAL, we'll hear from a rising 7th grader at Springfield Middle School. He shares what it was like to see a classroom that he was in last year destroyed and the uncertainty of what lies ahead. That's coming up at 12:30.
The cleanup efforts continue across the Triangle after Debby. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is outside of an apartment building in Raleigh that saw a tree crashing through it this morning. Sean, was anyone hurt there?
Yeah, Renee, luckily, no, nobody was hurt in this case, but trees like this are being cleaned up all across the city. This one on private property, but crashed through the top of this apartment building just yesterday. And in the last 24 hours, the city says it's seen dozens of trees fall all over the place. The city of Raleigh tells me they've responded to 47 downed trees because of Debby. Now, that doesn't include this one, again, because it's on private property. This one crashed down yesterday afternoon on the apartment here, and the person living here showed us what it looked like inside, with one of the branches actually poking through his ceiling. He didn't want us to share his name, but described what it was like when the tree came crashing down while he was working from home.
It felt like a huge explosion. The whole thing shook. And I figured, I didn't know it was a tornado or what it could be.
Did you ever expect it to happen here?
I'm not surprised. I mean, we've got all the trees. I mean, if they wanted to prevent this totally, they'd get rid of all the trees.
Now, this crew has been here pretty much all morning trying to take care of this tree, and I spoke to a home restoration professional who says this company is extremely busy with all the trees that they're dealing with. Again, this is on private property, so they're dealing with that, but the city of Raleigh tells me that all of their calls, they could include things like limbs that may fall on sidewalks or kind of block the road a little bit, but I'll tell you, we've seen a number of large trees that have fallen that are the city's responsibility. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News, Raleigh.
One day after touring the damage down east, Governor Roy Cooper turned his attention today to how the state plans to help people recover. WRAL's Ken Smith is here with what the governor had to say at a news conference just a short time ago. Ken.
You know, Jeff, Governor Cooper quickly made the point the effects of this storm are far from over. He pointed to the damage in Wilson County and other nearby communities down east. He says power company crews continue their work because of trees that are coming down as a result of the heavily saturated ground. The major concern right now, the governor says, is inland flooding because of a number of river flood gauges, either at moderate to high or moderate to major flood stages. He also commended the first responders, swiftwater rescue squads, and the people affected by this storm.
I am so grateful for the efforts of our first responders, as well as the resilient spirit of the people who have been impacted by severe weather. Teams will be there to help as you recover. The State Emergency Response Team will also continue its work. We've activated more than 374 soldiers and airmen from the North Carolina National Guard and deployed swiftwater rescue teams that have been engaged in getting people to safety.
And we saw a swiftwater rescue squad in action yesterday, saving some young children from a fast-moving Raleigh Creek. Now, the rivers in question include the Lumber, Tar, Neuse Rivers, as well as Cape Fear and Haw. And one more thing, the governor stressed, if you're in a flood-prone area near one of these rivers we just mentioned and you're asked to evacuate, get out of that danger zone.
And we continue to track the impacts of Debby, including the risk of flooding. Be sure to download the WRAL News app. Be sure to have the notifications turned on so you'll get weather alerts right to your location.